Sunjin made his way to the car with Minsu. Before they could get in, Minsu stopped and asked why he had treated Kim that way. She acknowledged that Kim had done bad things, but she believed she did not deserve to be humiliated in front of everyone. Sunjin looked at her and firmly stated that Kim was evil. He explained that she was the one who had kidnapped Yuna and that her original target had been Minsu, but she had taken Yuna by mistake. Minsu stood there, speechless. Sunjin moved closer and warned her to avoid Kim at all costs, emphasizing that she was dangerous and capable of even worse things. Taking Minsu's hands, he asked her to promise that she would stay away from Kim, no matter what. Minsu nodded in agreement. Sunjin apologized for ruining her birthday, explaining that he had been overwhelmed with anger when he saw Kim. Minsu reassured him that she understood how he felt. Smiling, Sunjin told her he wanted to introduce her to someone. They both got into the car and drove off. At the university, Kim sat alone on a bench as students passed by, glancing at her and laughing. She felt the sting of humiliation and wanted to cry, though she knew she deserved it. Her fiancé pulled up to the university and ran to her. Pulling her up from the bench, he asked if she was okay. He explained that he had come as soon as he heard her crying over the phone and had seen videos of the incident circulating online. Concerned, he moved closer and asked why Sunjin had treated her that way. Kim, on the verge of tears, explained that she had baked a cake for Minsu's birthday. But Sunjin had been angry and smashed it in her face. Her fiancé, confused, asked why Sunjin would do something so cruel. He insisted that Kim was the kindest and most gentle person he had ever met, and it made no sense for Sunjin to treat her like that. Looking at him, Kim explained that Sunjin hated her for no reason. She acknowledged that he had left her at the altar because of his hatred, but she had never expected him to continue treating her so badly. She insisted that all she wanted was to be a good person, and that she had never meant to harm anyone. As she spoke, tears streamed down her face. Her fiancé pulled her into his arms, comforting her. He assured her that Sunjin was a bad person and vowed to make him pay for what he had done. Looking into her eyes, he promised to protect her and not allow anyone to bully her again. He told her not to worry, as he was there for her. Taking her hand, he led her away, insisting that he would take her home. Meanwhile, Sunjin and Minsu arrived at the graveyard. Leading her to his brother's grave, Sunjin stood before the headstone and introduced his older brother. Moving closer, he spoke softly, asking his brother to meet Minsu, the love of his life. He apologized for bringing her so late. Minsu stepped forward, smiling as she introduced herself. She expressed that she had heard a lot about him and wished she could have met him in person. She described Sunjin as the kindest and most caring person she had ever known and promised to always treat him well. She also stated that Sunjin was doing a remarkable job following in his brother's footsteps and that, if he were still alive, he would surely be proud of him. As she spoke, Sunjin watched her, wishing his brother were still alive to meet her. Deep in his heart, he knew they would have gotten along well. Slowly, he took her hand, and together they paid their respects to his late brother. Later that day, Sunjin took Minsu ice skating. He had booked the entire rink just for the two of them. As they held hands and skated together, Minsu smiled, remembering how she had once mentioned that ice skating was on her bucket list. Sunjin had made her dream come true. After skating, they sat together, and he handed her a bottle of water, asking if she had enjoyed herself. Smiling, Minsu told him it had been the best birthday ever. She expressed that the most meaningful part had been meeting his older brother. Sunjin looked at her and admitted that if his brother were alive, he knew they would have gotten along well. Minsu leaned her head on his shoulder and softly told him that she loved him. She expressed her hope that their love would remain strong, despite any challenges they might face. She acknowledged that difficulties were inevitable in any relationship, but hoped they would always find their way back to each other. Sunjin smiled and assured her that he would never let her go. He told her that she was the love of his life,